Back inside the club, Wobin moved swiftly through the crowd, scanning the room for any sign of Yunna. His eyes eventually landed on her in the VIP section, dancing closely with an unfamiliar man. Without hesitation, he made his way there. When the security guard tried to block his path, Wobin, consumed by frustration and urgency, shoved him aside and forced his way in. He headed straight for Yunna, grabbed her by the hand, and tried to lead her out of the section. Yunna, clearly intoxicated, turned to him with glassy eyes. Her words slurred as she pushed him away, insisting that she was single and could do whatever she pleased. She raised her voice, drawing attention, and accused him of being more interested in Dr. Anna than in her. Wobin, not wanting to escalate things in front of everyone, tried once again to pull her away. But one of the men she had been dancing with stepped in, telling Wobin to back off, claiming Yunna was just trying to have fun. That was the breaking point. Wobin's anger flared. He stepped closer to the man, his eyes dark with fury, and fixed him with a deadly stare. The message was clear. This was not a man to be challenged. The guy, intimidated and uncertain, backed away without another word. Wobin then firmly took Yunna's hand and dragged her out of the club, his expression cold and unreadable, his mood far from forgiving. Outside, the tension between them reached its peak. Wobin stopped and turned to face Yunna, his anger barely contained. He questioned whether she intended to act recklessly every time they had a disagreement. His gaze dropped to her outfit, and he pointed out how inappropriate and dangerous it was for someone her age to be dressed that way, especially while surrounding herself with strangers. Yunna, still intoxicated but wounded by his words, cut him off. She accused him of always reducing her to her age, never seeing her as an equal, never truly taking her seriously. To him, she had always been like an immature younger sister rather than a real partner. That, she said, explained everything. Wobin moved closer, his expression hard but sincere. He told her that if he had seen her as a little sister, he would never have pursued a relationship with her. He urged her to stop being unreasonable and to see the situation for what it really was. But Yunna, now overwhelmed by emotion and alcohol, turned and began to walk away. Before she could take another step, Wobin grabbed her hand, pulled her firmly toward the car, opened the door, and helped her inside. Without saying another word, he closed the door, got into the driver's seat, and sped off into the night, his hands tight on the steering wheel, his mind filled with disappointment, worry, and rage. Back at Kim's house, Kim's stepmother quietly entered the bedroom where her husband was lying in bed. She moved slowly, almost cautiously, before slipping under the covers beside him. With a soft voice, she asked if he was still awake. He responded in a low, tired tone that he was nearly asleep. Turning to face him, she began to speak with feigned sadness. She told him that she had found the dog and, regrettably, it was dead. Still playing her role, she claimed that it was her fault, that the maid might have added some spices or herbs to the lamb chops, something the dog could have been allergic to, and that had likely caused its death. She expressed her sorrow, saying that had she known, she would have done something to prevent it. The dog, after all, had been with the family for many years. Kim's father looked at her intently, fully aware of her pretense. Though she wore the mask of grief and guilt, he could see straight through her performance. Still, he reached for her hand and, keeping his voice calm, told her it was all right. He remarked that the dog had already been sick for a while, and perhaps it was simply its time to go. He gently encouraged her to rest, wished her a good night, and then turned to face the other side of the bed. Though his actions were subtle, the tension in his body was undeniable. He lay stiff and fuming with quiet rage. Sharing the same bed with the woman he now believed to be responsible for his daughter's death, and possibly plotting his own, only made the situation more unbearable. Meanwhile, Kim's stepmother lay silently watching him. She felt a wave of relief, convinced that he was still in the dark, still naive to what was really happening. Slowly, She reached under the blanket and pulled out the knife she had brought with her. She stared at it, her expression unreadable. The knife, she had told herself, was for self-defense, just in case his suspicions had returned and he confronted her. For a brief moment, a dark thought flashed through her mind. She considered ending it right there, driving the blade through his chest and silencing him for good. But she held herself back. Acting on impulse would be reckless. If she killed him now, it would be far too obvious, an unmistakable murder case. That was not the kind of attention she needed. She took a deep breath and quietly placed the knife back beneath the covers, her mind already racing to devise a new plan. If she wanted to get rid of him without raising suspicion, she needed to find a smarter, cleaner way, one that would ensure no one ever questioned his death.